They are cases which horrified America and indeed the world and threw its deep problems with racism into sharp focus. Trayvon Martin, shot dead at the age of 17 by George Zimmerman, who was acquitted. George Floyd, murdered by police officer Derek Chauvin. And Breonna Taylor, killed in a hail of police bullets fired into her apartment by police officers. One lawyer has had a front row seat in all of them. Benjamin Crump is one of the leading civil rights lawyers in the US, and he's represented many of the families of the victims. For 2 years, he's helped Breonna Taylor's mother in her quest for justice. Her daughter was killed when police investigating her ex-boyfriend raided her apartment. This month, federal charges were brought against 4 police officers involved in that raid. The indictment charges the 4 with civil rights offences: unlawful conspiracy, unconstitutional use of force, and obstruction, but not murder. Mr. Crump was also in court last week to see the killers of Ahmaud Arbery handed another life sentence. He was a young black man who was chased and murdered in 2020 whilst out jogging in Georgia by 3 white men in a racially motivated attack. Already serving a life sentence for murder, 2 of them were sentenced to another life sentence for committing federal hate crimes. Well, I spoke to Benjamin Crump, the attorney, shortly before we came on, and I began by asking if he and the Taylor family were disappointed that none of the officers involved were charged with murder.
We were very gratified that the Attorney General of the United States charged the officers they did charge with willful deprivation of Breonna Taylor's constitutional rights that led to her death. This was the first time, Matt, that police officers were charged with killing a black woman in the United States of America on the federal level. So the family sees this as momentous progress.
Now, the first time I met you, I think it was 10 years ago, after the tragic shooting of Trayvon Martin, who was 17 years old and, of course, was unarmed, by George Zimmerman. Zimmerman was acquitted. Do you think that America has changed enough for that case, if it were heard today, not to be the case?
I believe without Trayvon Martin, there would not have been a successful campaign in getting justice for George Floyd's family, or Ahmaud Arbery's family, the young man who was lynched for jogging while black. And certainly, I don't believe there would have been charges brought for the killing of this innocent black woman, Breonna Taylor. So Trayvon Martin, I believe, raised the consciousness level in society, in America and all over the world, to black lives.
Let me ask you really bluntly, is it much harder now to be a racist cop in America and kill black people and get away with it?
It's much more difficult for them to try to marginalize us as irrelevant and insignificant because of what we did with Trayvon Martin and what I continue to try to do every day in America, and that is to raise the value of black life, to say that we're not irrelevant, we're not insignificant, and we're not inferior, and we're not invisible. And I try to hold a mirror to America's face to say, you have to at least acknowledge the hypocrisy of how this legal system, this criminal justice system, treats black people compared to how it treats white people.
And do the cases that you've been involved in and the indictments that you're getting and the verdicts that are being delivered by courts, does that indicate, do you think, that American society is changing, or is it still very, very divided on this particular issue?
Well, there still remains some division, but we're making progress every day. It's better to strike a match than to curse the darkness. I want to believe that we're making intermittent progress. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a constant struggle, a constant fight, but every day, we're making progress.
And do you think that police forces in America are changing? What do you think is going on inside the different police forces?
Well, I do think there's a lot of change going on in police departments across America, and I pray that that change is for the better, that they're having a lot of implicit bias training to say that we don't want to protect and serve people in one community and hunt and kill people in another community.
Benjamin Crump, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Matt. It's good talking with you again after many years, my friend.